Thank you, Detroit. Because of your generous donations, this year's Stuff a Studio was a massive success. With the help from our friends at Meyer, Guardian Alarm, and people like you, we were able to send a massive U-Haul filled with toys to Mott Children's Hospital.
I thought it was pretty cool, but more importantly, my daughter had surgery at Mott back in about 2005 for brain surgery. They did a miraculous job for her. As a matter of fact, she's graduated from Michigan State on Saturday.
Oh,
You could never
hey,
tell.
go green, right? Yeah.
Thank you. And we really want to thank you. I know we're standing in front of this very large building, but when you look up, this building is full right now with a lot of sick kids that are going to be here through the holidays. And this team is amazing to make sure that they can at least smile during the holidays, and what you guys have done for us, we'll make sure that we're bringing that magic into their hospital room. So thank you so much. Thank you.
All right, Ermanni, Braylon Edwards here. This is Ermanni and Edwards, The Bottom Line. Woodward Sports Network, we certainly thank you for tuning in on YouTube. Great numbers this week, and we hope to keep it going. Yep. With this guy, Devin Gardner's in the house. Are you kidding me? Look at this. Hey, bud.
Yes, I am here. I'm well. I just ate some great food.
I saw you over there eating, man. I was a little jealous.
I want to make sure it's not stuff all over my face. Because if it is, forgive me, because it's outstanding.
This is a great place to work. I think for the first 2.5 months consistently,
every day
we ate every day at Birmingham roast.
Yeah, I had the salad.
Wait, you stopped?
Well,
I know it. I know you guys are real bougie. You're getting your views up, everything. I get it. You eating out. You're doing all the. Okay,
to get a little bit of a variety.
That's not me. I'm eating every single day.
But you got to, you got to take your time with it though, because you eat it every day, it starts to taste the same. So you got to, pull back, and that way when you eat it,
they have options.
I think I've eaten everything on that menu as well. By the way,
exactly. Shoot, 5 days a week, 3 months, it adds up. It adds up. The redundancy.
Devin, talk to me about this Michigan team, man. So many people believed in this team. Just something was different about it. We felt, at least we did.
Yeah.
Where are you on this? What did you see on Saturday, and how do you project them moving forward?
Well, as you know, I'm an analyst, right? And so when a good analyst first gets things, right? He doesn't wait to see it happen and then, they shouldn't have done that, or that was a good call. Well, yeah, we saw it was a good call. It worked, right? And so I first guessed this. I made a bold prediction. I think it was October 25th. I actually just posted on my Twitter. We do a game with a show I do, and it's called Bold Predictions. I predicted not only will they beat Ohio State, these are my exact words, not only will they beat Ohio State, I'm not even going to say that. That's not a bold prediction, because that's a given. They're going to beat Ohio State, and then they're going to win the Big Ten championship and win their go the first time to the playoffs. So that's something that I said a while ago, and now it's coming to fruition. Obviously, one more game to go with Iowa. Who's a tough team. I had them this year against Illinois, and even though Illinois is an improved team, Iowa kind of handled that game pretty good, and they're well coached. Coach Ferentz is one of the best coaches in the Big Ten. That's why he's been there forever. This is one of the years where they got a lot of older guys where they on defense, but on offense, their offensive line is relatively young, so it's taking them a while to get going. But they've gotten going now. They're running the game going. But that Michigan team's good, man. They can do anything that you want on the field. Now, obviously, we would love the quarterback to be able to take more shots downfield, but that's just not who they are, right? They built an identity around running the football, and knowing they're going to run the football and still running the football down your throat. Ask Ohio State about that. They know just a little bit about it. So I'm excited about them. I'm excited about all the tight ends and the running backs that have emerged and on defense, right? So you play Ohio State and they got all those talented receivers, and I haven't seen a group. I don't know about you, brother. I haven't seen a group that deep and that talented, and they are who we thought they were. Like some of the catches that they made in the game, it's like, wait a minute. How? Why? And I'm getting ready to do my game, right? And I'm watching, obviously I have it on the side. There's no way I'm calling the game and the game's on and I'm not going to have my game, right? The game's on and I'm trying to get ready for my game, but I can't really, you know what I mean? It's kind of,
absolutely.
And I'm looking like, how? How are you doing that? How are you making these catches, right? So they did what they should have done, but Michigan, even with that, was able to do so much good and obviously dominate the game. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be a Wolverine. And all the credit goes to those kids in the arena, man. They did what they were supposed to do, and they continue to do it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. And we actually talked about that. I haven't seen a group like this in the Big Ten probably since Jason, Steve, myself, and I think they were better than we were. I think that they're all complete receivers. They're all first-round draft picks. But I want you to talk about Cade McNamara, because throughout the whole season, people have discredited Cade McNamara. They've called for J.J. McCarthy. They've wanted him to be the guy. They wanted to sit Cade McNamara on the bench. Lackluster. Don't like him. He's boring. He
I was one of those guys at the start of the year.
Can't get the ball down the field. He had to put up with that all season long, but he still was able to manage the game. He still was able to win. He still was able to make the plays. Talk about Cade McNamara.
I mean, I'm not big into patting people on the back for doing what they're supposed to do, but he's done a good job. But when you sign to play quarterback at Michigan, that's what it's going to come with. It doesn't matter how good you play, and he wasn't playing great, right? Like, I break down the film every single week, and he wasn't playing great. He was missing a lot of reads. He was missing a lot of throws. There were throws that he just couldn't get to because of his limitations, and those are all facts. Those aren't things that were made up, right?
Right. Yeah,
and
100%.
so he had to deal with that, though, and I applaud him a great deal. I think the infusion of J.J. McCarthy ramped his game up.
Yeah.
Because J.J.
Great
McCarthy.
point.
Nobody wants to get benched.
I don't know about seeing a guy who comes off cold every single time and makes great plays.
Yeah.
Right? You come in and, like, I remember I used to come in and deuce package with Denard,
Exactly.
But I got Denard in the game, so people worry about him, and I kind of get off, do some things.
Yeah.
He's coming in, the other quarterback's going out, and he's making plays. Like, think about the Ohio State game, for example. He comes in, they do the little fake outside zone where he puts the ball in his arm, and he comes out of it in the snow and throws a 31-yard dime.
Dude.
And it was amazing. And people don't realize they weren't in cover two. They were in one high. Because he ran, the corner came up, and then he had to hurry up and try to retreat, and the safety had gotten over the top. That was a whole shot that was created, and he still got it in there.
Might have been the best throw all season.
Unbelievable.
100%.
Right? And so
100%.
when a kid like that can do things like that, and you have to get him in the game. And I think that he's really given our offense another dimension. But Cade McNamara is still very, very good at what he's doing, right, in that running game.
So let me ask you this. Let me run this back by you. Based off what you said, so next season, both these guys have eligibility. JJ has 3, K has 2. Next season, is there a quarterback controversy? Are they playing for the start next season? Or is K going to be the ultimate starter because of what he's done this season? You tell me.
There has to be a competition.
Yeah.
There's no way you can go into the next season after watching what JJ was able to do, watching his talent, watch him, and he had the 2 mistakes. One that we didn't pay for, and then another big mistake. But that second mistake wasn't him. It was a run play called, and he never tried to keep the ball,
exactly.
right? And so, no matter what happened,
yep.
it wasn't on him, you know what I mean? And so when you go into next year, I just want to take you back to Clemson, right? Clemson, I forgot what year it was. They had Bryant as the quarterback, and they went to the college football playoff.
2018.
Right? Yep. And then the next year, they bring in
Kelly,
Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
After the college football playoff, right? And so
2 games got him out of there.
The goal, right, for the University of Michigan and all the fans is to have the best possible player to make sure that your program can be the best. That's it, period. And so I think that you don't give it to JJ without question. That's not an option. But there has to be a competition throughout the year, just like Clemson did, and they were much, much better for it. And I was against it back then. I was like, how could you do that?
It's like disloyal. It's like disloyal, right?
And it's just like, wait a minute though, right? They're so much more explosive. Yeah. They have so much more variety, and now they're going to win the national championship, right? And so I think that,
and if you're Cade McNamara, you got to understand.
You got to invite it too.
You got to understand that you came to school to be the best. You wanted to be the starter, Ryan. You wanted to come here. You wanted to start at Michigan. That means you have to be the best to start. So if you're not the best, if you get beat out by somebody that's better than you, then you got to sit back and you got to accept it.
Yeah, it's
there
tough.
is the transfer portal.
Yeah, it's very tough, and but that's what sport is, right? And it seems like we kind of get lost and we lose that of like, man, things are owed to people, and what you did. I guess some of what you've done matters, right? And I don't know if you guys know, I'm big on the what did
Harbaugh say? Meritocracy.
Yeah, like the Matthew Stafford thing. It's like, we owe him this, and what have you done for me lately, man? What have you done? What have you done? You haven't been able to be successful, and now you're the same quarterback the Rams had a year ago, even though he's in Detroit now. You have the same record. You're 7-91 versus teams with a winning record. You came into a situation similar to every other first overall pick, and you weren't able to produce. Nothing against you, very talented, but we cannot continue to owe people things, and that goes across all of sport, not just in Detroit or at the University of Michigan or Michigan State or wherever. You can't continue to old people things. It's just unfair because you got young people coming up, right? They're coming up with great enthusiasm and they're talented. They work on their games, and you owe this other guy something, and now the team suffers. You know?
Devin Gardner, everybody. My goodness, so great to have you, my man. We are really excited. We've got Saturday and then hopefully a sure path to the college football playoff where, if you ask me, I seriously believe Michigan has got to be the favorite to win this thing.
Yeah.
See, everybody's talking about Georgia. Georgia hadn't played a team that has fewer than 4 losses all year. Let's see what they do against Alabama. Let's just see.
He did play for the Broncos, and the Detroit Lions do, in fact, play against the Broncos this week. And on the show right now is Derek Barnes, linebacker, who has led those Detroit Lions to their first win this past Sunday. Let's bring him in right now. D. Barnes, what's going on, man?
Hey, Derek.
How y'all doing? How you doing?
Yeah, we're doing
great,
good, man.
Thanks for coming on with us.
Purdue Boilermakers finest. We'll get into Purdue in a minute, man. But, the first question we all want to know, man, talk about that win. Talk about how it felt in that locker room and on that field.
It felt good, especially for me being a rookie in my first NFL win. It's amazing, just the emotion in the locker room. People, dancing, having a good time. Setting up what they're doing after the game. It was a good moment, and just to see the look on our coaches' faces was, phenomenal. And you want to keep experiencing that feeling. And I can't explain it. It was really like one of the best moments, really.
Yeah, it's got to be such a relief to finally get that off your back, not only for the coach, but for you as a rookie, too, not getting that first win. And I was watching an interview with you and the great Dan Miller, who had a tremendous call on that last catch by Amon-Ra St. Brown. And you kind of got to talking about how the game's starting to slow down for you. And that's one thing that rookies, I think it's really important. When did you start feeling that, or is it just kind of like a burst the bubble thing, like all of a sudden it clicks and it's like, okay, this makes sense?
I think it comes with time and experience. For me, being a rookie, and when, as you guys know, at the beginning of the season when Jamie Collins were here, I was just playing special teams and not really getting many reps as a linebacker, in regular season games. But other than that, I would just say, just discipline, learning day by day at practice, kind of watching more film and getting experience in the game. I think that helps me a lot. When Jerm got hurt, Jalen Reeves-Maben, when he got hurt, also gave me more time to, play in the game, play on third downs, playing more in coverage. And I think it just goes by experience. The more time you play, I would say honestly, the more time you're on the field, it also helps me as a player, especially because I know that's one thing that helps me learn is when I make mistakes, going and watching film and see myself make a mistake, it allows me not to make that mistake again. So I think that helped me a lot.
Talking to Detroit Lions 4th-round draft pick Derek Barnes out of Purdue University. Hey, man, just talk about the physicality, like for a second, because when I watched that game this past week, and I've been watching it creep in about the last 4 weeks, but I watched it this week, and it was different. Those 2-point conversions, like you guys welcome that. The physicality has been unmatched by the other teams the last couple of weeks. Talk about what that means, because you're a leader as it relates to physicality.
I think it's a mindset. I think that's one thing that we had honed in on was being physical. I think that's one thing that we've been known for our defensive-wise, just being physical, giving effort, giving great effort, fighting for every inch. Games may not have went our way, but just being physical and, just pushing to the end, and then learning how to win in those critical situations. I think that's what helped us, and we practice it every day. What situations could we be in this game? And, we practice them, and that was one of them. Goal line is huge for us. The goal lines plays, the short yardage plays is huge for us throughout the week. We hone in on those small things. We just go out there, execute it, and get the job done.
Hey, Derek, it's Tom Mazawey. I want to say thanks for coming on with us. We appreciate you. We're following your career, man, and we're happy that you're able to get the reps that you're able to get this year. You and a lot of these young guys on this team, all coming up in this draft class, the first for Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell. How important is it for you guys this year? Hey, look, we're not going to make the playoffs. Although Fox said there's a 1 in a trillion chance that you guys can make the playoffs. Did you know that?
This is a chance, but no, it's very important. I think that one thing you have to learn here in the NFL is that anything could happen. did I know that, Jamie Collins wasn't going to be here the next day after a game? I did not know, but you have to stay prepared. Did I know that guys were going to go down, as they are right now? No, I didn't know that. But I think that the key thing is just being ready and stay hungry. That's been the biggest thing for me. Always be prepared just in case anything happens. What happens, you're ready to take that task and, help the team win. So.
Well, you guys got a decent-sized challenge this week with the Denver Broncos. Obviously, Javonte Williams showed what he can do last weekend. They have Jerry Jeudy, some young pieces there. How do you prepare for a team like the Broncos, especially going into the altitude like you're going to have to do this weekend?
Yeah, I think it just goes back to, like your keys to victory. Like, what do we need to do in order to help our team win? And, one of those things is shut down a guy like Jerry Jeudy. Stop the run, population to the ball. Everybody, it doesn't need to be one person tackling running back. He's a great guy. He has, a huge lower body. He's strong. He's one of the best running backs as far as breaking tackles. And, when you go in the game, you have to make sure your tackling is on point. He's a spinner. You have to work on that. This small things, working on through those throughout the week, allows you to go in the game and play fast.
Hey, Derek, I'd be remiss if before we let you go, we didn't get into your Purdue Boilermakers. You guys beat Michigan State this year when they were ranked number 3. When you were there, you guys toppled Ohio State. It wasn't even close when they were number 2. What is it about Coach Brown that gets you guys up to play these challenges? Because it seems like you guys want the big smoke and you always handle it. What is it about Coach Brown, man?
I think it's his approach to the game. When I was there, when we played Ohio State, like throughout the whole week, it was just perfect. Like it never been, everybody was showing up time to dinner, study tables, like no matter what it is, it was just perfect that week. And, that was also the week of, Tyler Trent. And I think that just uplifted us also, just knowing his story. We just felt winning in the air. Like we came out that game doing warm-ups and we just all looking around like, we're about to win this game. And from the jump to the energy to when Ohio State ran out of the tunnel, we're all talking smack to them. It was crazy. It was a crazy game, crazy moment. It was just the energy in the stadium, the energy of the staff, the coaches, the players. It was phenomenal, and that's just one thing I would never forget. This year with them, they did a phenomenal job, defensive-wise, offensive-wise. I watched the game, and I'm frustrated at the TV, like, we need this, but they did really good. 8-4 is pretty good. Personally, I never won 8 regular season games, so I don't know what to do. But, it is what it is, and those guys deserve it. They're going to the Music City Bowl once again. I was there my sophomore year. It's a fun experience. I'm very hyped for those guys, and, they deserve it. So.
Hopefully you didn't watch that Rutgers basketball game last night, Derek.
Oh, too soon.
Actually, I did.
Too soon.
I did. I actually did. It was that shot and make it is unbelievable.
That's unbelievable, huh? Hey, but a good pedigree hit it. So, Ron Harper Jr., I mean, he had some good teaching, right, going into that one?
Oh, yeah, definitely. All praise to him.
Hey, you're going to be wearing the mic this weekend, man. How important is that? I mean, what an honor, huh? That Aaron Glenn lets you. You're the big boss, man.
Yep. It's just, like I said, it just goes back to knowing what I have to do when getting everybody lined up. I think that's very important as a linebacker, especially Mike linebacker. Just know what everybody's doing on the field. Communication is key. That's been key for us all week, all season, honestly. And I'm just, ready to take that role.
Well, Derek, man, we here at Woodward Sports, man. We wish you guys luck this week against the Denver Broncos at Mile High Plaza. Go ahead and get a win, man. Make it 2-0, man. Go ahead. Take your frustration out on Rutgers. Take it out on the Broncos.
There you go.
I got you.
Man, appreciate you coming on the show, man. Got to have you again soon.
Thanks, DB.
Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
We appreciate the Lions for hooking us up here.
Yeah, that was Derek Brown, 42 tackles this year, 2 passes, deflections, and he is physical, man. He is physical. You can hear it in his voice. Their mental has been really good last 4 weeks.
Yeah, and he's just a part of this rookie class that has continued to impress this year. I mean, and that's what we've got to be looking forward to as the Lions. You can talk about the record all you want, but you talk about what Brad Holmes has brought in just year 1. I can't wait to see what he does with all the assets coming up this next draft, too.
Yeah, let's hold on. Let's actually bring that up when we come in the next segment. Let's talk a little bit about what Brad Holmes, rookie and his draft picks have done. We touched on it this week, but why not talk about it again and talk about what the Lions have to do against the Broncos? Ermanni Edwards, Woodward Sports Network, The Bottom Line. Or Jay Booty, as they call it. Get Jay Booty's opinion on it.
Jake, how you doing, my friend? Thanks so much for the time.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
there we
sir.
go.
Yes, sir.
There we go.
Nice. 2021, man. I mean, we're living in the future. It should be easier than this, but having fun, guys.
Here we are.
Well, one of these days, Jake, we got to get you in studio
Absolutely.
here. It'd be fantastic
Would love
to chat with you. But, you put out a tweet, Jake, and I kind of loved it because you seem to be the centerpiece of discussions and the example that people use for skipping the bowl game and getting ready for the NFL draft. Whether it's Kenny Pickett or Kenneth Walker, people will refer back to Jake Butt's case. Former surefire first-round pick, plays in the bowl game, gets hurt, and the rest is history. You responded to that. Can you tell us how you feel about being used as the example?
It's funny because you have people using my situation to argue why they should play and why they shouldn't play. So there's people using my situation to defend their viewpoint that are polar opposite. And I think in football, it's so complex that a generality doesn't work. For me, everyone asks if I regret it. I do not regret it. I learned a lot of things. I went through trials. I think there's something to be said about that. There's some, physical, emotional growth that goes on through that. But I may have different values and principles than the next man. And when you're staring down the barrel, you have $4, $5, $10+ million waiting for you, and all you got to do is just get through this. I can't knock a guy for sitting out. And everybody, the big argument here is, well, why play the whole season? And the way I look at it is just from the beginning of the season up until your last game, whether it's the conference championship or your last game of the regular season, there's a body of work where you can increase your draft status at that point. How much can you really increase your draft status in one bowl game? At that point, it's like your downside risk heavily outweighs your potential upside benefit. So for guys to sit out and take care of their future, I can't knock them. And Braylon, you know this too. The combine's in March. So if you play New Year's Eve, you have a week of travel and you really can't jump right into lifting. You can't start hitting the combine prep hard till mid-January.
Yeah.
If you sit out and you're done at the end of the regular season, now you start that combine prep first week of December. That's another month to go out there and run a better 40.
Yeah,
bench
yes,
prep,
it is.
more reps, more combine prep. People aren't understanding that, man. And where's the loyalty? Where's the loyalty? Notre Dame, Brian Kelly, you had a chance to go to the college football playoff.
Whew.
He left and didn't even give those players a time of day. There is no loyalty, and we're holding these young men, these 18 to 20-year-olds, to a higher standard than we are the $8 million coach. Don't give me that, man. Let these guys make the best decision for themselves.
Yeah, Jay Booty, I couldn't say it any better than that. It's tired of like all these coaches, these guys making these, hundreds of $1 million. They get these deals on the table, and they get to up and book. Meanwhile, when a player wants to do something, now you got players coaches like Dabo Swinney coming out and complaining. Lane Kiffin wants to come out of Ole Miss and complain as well. I agree with you. Tell them to shut the hell up. Hey, Jake, getting into the Michigan team this year. Obviously, I know Ryan and Mass have questions. I'm gonna keep it to the tight ends. How good was it to see the emergence of the tight ends? Michigan's always been a place where the tight end was important. You, Devin Funchess, when he was young. You look at Carson Butler. You look at Benny Joppru that I played with Jeremy Tillman in the '97 National Championship game. How good was it to see Schoonmaker and all come on this season for the Michigan Wolverines and Kate McNamara?
Yeah. Oh, man, I can't say this enough how proud I am of those dudes. And really, obviously, the flashy stats are the one-hand catches. You see Eric make a one-hand catch for a touchdown. Schoon goes out there and makes a one-hand catch down the red zone. Those are the flashy plays. But, when you're a former football player, you watch the game with a different eye. They block their asses off.
Ooh,
they're doing
mouth.
wide insert plays and snapping linebackers next back. They're lining up and doing it again and again. Their blocking is what's really most impressive to me. And as you saw in the Ohio State game, we won because we won the physical battle up front. That was the O-line and the tight ends. And I know you see the receivers downfield blocking too, Brandon.
My God.
The downfield blocking, and that just shows a love for the game, a love for the process, and a love for one another. So, of course, I'm biased. I always love the tight ends, but it's the collective picture, what the offense has been able to do from a physicality standpoint that I think is most impressive.
I couldn't agree with you more. Somebody that well, Lloyd Carr, he always taught me, when you do what you're supposed to do, things that you want to happen. And Eric All and Schoonmaker have been destroying offensive linemen, linebackers, and chipping, run blocking, pass protecting, down the field blocking all season. When you get a bone like the one-hand catches against Iowa, when you get a bone like the play they've been working on for 2 years that works to beat Penn State, those things happen because you're doing everything right. And I agree with you. Those tight ends are getting their just due now, Ryan.
Talking to Jake Butt, former Michigan tight end, one of the great Michigan tight ends in program history, former fifth-round pick of the Denver Broncos. And Jake, I want to just go back to your time in Denver after the injury. Did you, professional athletes, high-class athletes know their bodies. Did you know that you weren't the same player that you were after the injury that before? Like, is there something you could tell, or did you feel like you were the same guy after the injury than
because
before?
You did re-injure you tore your ACL again, right? Yeah, you tore your ACL again in Denver.
That's the story. So I tore my first one going into my sophomore year at Michigan. I played in a game 6 months after surgery. They said it was the fastest recovery they'd ever seen. That was the only time I'd ever been hurt in my life. I missed one game. Then I tore it in the bowl game. I missed my entire rookie year. It was like an 18-month rehab. Believe it or not, coming out that spring OTAs in that camp, I was playing damn good ball, man. And, your offensive coordinator has a big play sheet, 100 bread and butter plays, and then you flip over the play sheet, and he's got a couple brackets for specific guys he think are playmakers that he wants to get the ball to. Well, there was Demaryius Thomas, there was Emmanuel Sanders, and my name was right there up there with them. I was playing really, really good ball there in Denver. And, it's week 4, we're playing Kansas City and Arrowhead on the road. I'm running down on scout team kickoff. They had me up to run a sluggo, Braylon. They had me
not the sluggo.
I'm licking my chops, man. I'm thinking I'm going to outplay Kelsey and put myself on the map. I freaking tear my ACL on scout team kickoff. That was my 3rd time, and that one really killed me. I rehabbed that for 9 months. Got over it, was all right, got cleared. First day of camp was the next day. The following day, I retore both my meniscus, missed the entire season. At that point, I'll be honest to you, I wanted them to cut me. I was like, make this decision for me, man. This is torturous. You guys just cut me and let this be over. They stuck with me. Going into my 4th year, I'm buried on the depth chart. We drafted a tight end 2 straight years. We brought one in free agency. No one gave me a chance. I was the only tight end to not miss a practice all camp. I had a hell of a camp. I made the team against all odds. Week 1, I dislocate both my knuckles in my
God.
The index and my middle finger. Obviously, that makes catching the ball really hard. That makes blocking really hard. But I didn't want to miss time, so I'm playing with one hand all season. 3 weeks later, I pull my hamstring and go on IR for the rest of the year. And then this offseason, I just kept tweaking my hamstring. And at some point, I'm like, man, I got a Michigan degree. I'm a smart guy. I like to think. I'm not having fun with this anymore. I need to transition to something else. And it's the physical aspect as an athlete you can overcome.
Yeah.
At some point, the mental really starts to weigh on you, especially when it's over and over and over again, and it kind of strips your joy, at least in my case.
Nah, you're 100% correct. I want to touch on something you just said real quick. Von Miller, that actual training camp that he's talking about, tweeted a lot about Jay Booty. He posted some pictures of Jay Booty and talked about how well he's playing. I do remember that training camp. I think I was at the network at the time, Big Ten Network. But also, I just know exactly what you're talking about, that mental. That's how it was for me towards the end of my career. I had a meniscus tear. Then I had a bad surgery to repair that. Then I had a bad surgery to clean out those loose bodies. And it's like as you're playing.
And you got those fingers.
Like, oh, yeah, I definitely got a hand, so I know what you mean. But you feel it. And you're like, you know what? I got the Michigan thing going on. I work hard. I've proven that I can be in this place. And you say, you know what? It's time to step aside. I'm glad you make that decision while you're still healthy. I'm really proud of you.
Jake.
Yeah, I remember, it was when I knew I was with the Bears and we had a conditioning test at 8 a.m. I slept from 10 p.m. till midnight that night and then tossed and turned all the way till 8 a.m. I normally love the conditioning tests and want to win them. I was running that conditioning test, and it was the strangest feeling I've ever felt in my life. And I'm like, this isn't right, man. I need a transition. And that's ultimately when I knew. So, yeah, when you know, you know.
Yeah.
Jake, I wanted to ask you about the future here in college athletics. When do you think an athlete, a kid, let's say Aiden Hutchinson, playing in a playoff game, are they going to start taking those off instead of just the bowl games. Do you think athletes will start taking off these extra championship games?
I would think not, because a national championship it's way different than the Peach Bowl. It's another level from a historical standpoint, and to get a ring and win a trophy, it'd be really hard to leave your teammates with the body of work that you put together to get there. What I'd be interested in is, if they expand this playoff, that's expanded revenue. Will they give profit share? Can they find a way to incentivize these guys to play in these games? I think that's probably where we're heading. And I think in the lesser bowl games, you're going to see more and more guys sit out. And who are we to say, what's best for another man? And you got to make the best decision for you.
Yeah. Jake, I'll tell you, man, you got a hell of a future in this business. Hopefully you stick with it. We'll be calling you.
You'll be doing your own show. We'll be calling to be on your show.
We'll be calling you.
I told you. We're having him on. He's staying on.
I listen to you guys work from time to time, so I'm a fan. It's our first time, connecting, man. Anytime you guys like to have me on, I'd be happy to join you. So,
you got
what are you doing Christmas week?
We got Zoom, man.
The Zoom, the lights, yeah. We're right down the street.
Jake Butt, you'll be hearing from us, my friend. Thanks so much. We certainly appreciate it.
Thanks,
Great stuff there. And love to have Jake back in advance of the Michigan-Georgia game and really get in the weeds. I know, really get in the weeds with him.
What are you rushing?
Very exciting day for so many kids and their families. Everything you work hard for your whole life kind of culminates today. It is National Signing Day, and we are celebrating that with the #1 player in the state of Michigan, the pride of Grosse Pointe South High School.
Oh my!
Unlike me, he will have his jersey retired there one day.
He probably really never came off the field.
Right,
Was he wearing your number?
Right, Will Johnson joins us now. Will, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. How about you? Thanks for having me.
Congrats, man.
Well, congrats, man, from one alum to a future alum, man. Congratulations on your decision.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Will,
no problem.
One of the things I wanted to talk, you committed early, and now to come and culminate with the signing today and to officially be a Michigan Wolverine today, what's this whole process been like for you? How emotional have you gotten? I know you put in so much work, all the hours, all the weightlifting, all the speed training, and to finally get to where you get today, what does that mean to you? What's this moment like for you?
It means a lot. It just means all my hard work paid off, and all the things I did when nobody saw it just paying off today. So I'm just proud of myself, proud of the things I did to get here, and I'm just going to keep it going, keep doing it going forward at Michigan.
That's a good thing you say there. You say you're proud of yourself, man. It's okay for individuals to be proud of themselves. When you work hard, when you put in that work, it's okay for you to be proud of yourself. It's very important that you're proud of yourself, but then it's very important, like you said, to keep it moving. Tell me about this 2022 class. My nephew, Michael Pollard, who we got some funny pictures of. I can't wait to put these up in a few. But I know he's a part of that class as well. Who do you like in this class? What is kind of what has endeared you to this class so far in terms of the guys coming up next year?
I mean, I like everybody in our class, but I mean, we have a really good secondary coming in. We're a great secondary coach. We got some good D linemen coming in, adding it to our class. We got some great linebackers too. So we obviously got some good receivers, running back. We got everything. So then we got one of the best classes in the country, and we're just gonna keep the winning going next year.
Secondary coach talking about Coach Clinkscale.
That's right. Well, how influential did you become over the last 6 months or so in trying to get other recruits to come to Michigan, and how much easier was it to see the way they played this year, ultimately beating Ohio State and winning a Big Ten championship? How much easier did your job become?
Honestly, it became a lot easier. It was a lot of dudes on the fence before that game, and then once we won that game, a lot of dudes were ready to buy in. So I think it meant a lot, and it's just motivation to keep beating those schools when you see we can actually do it.
Hey, side note, Twitter and Instagram, social media didn't exist when I signed a letter of intent 21 years ago today. Talk about being the #1 player in the state. Talk about being a 5-star athlete, going to the University of Michigan. Talk about all the distractions that you have to withstand from the start of this year to the end of this year, because I know it had to be a lot for you.
Personally, I wouldn't really say it's distractions. I just say more like motivation for me, just to keep working hard and keep the things I have. And just keep it going forward at Michigan. I mean, really, I wouldn't say it's any pressure or any distractions right now.
Hey, Will, I'm under the understanding that you're going to graduate next week and then head to Ann Arbor or join the team. What's the deal? How is that process going to be, and to join essentially a playoff team?
Well, it's not for sure yet if I'll be able to practice, but yeah, I graduate next week Wednesday, so hopefully I can get a couple practices in before they leave to go practice in Florida. So, I mean, that'd be great for me just to get that experience this year before I even get there, and get to practice with them and to see how I fit in with the team and just gel super early. So it'd be great for me.
Hey, Will, have you been following the other recruits across the country? There's a kid, Travis Hunter, that was going to go to Florida State, cornerback, and Deion Sanders plucked him over to Jackson State. Have you been following stuff like that?
I mean, yeah, I just saw it 20 minutes ago. I mean, that's great for him, great for black colleges. So, I mean, Deion pulled it off, so it's good for them.
Did Deion call you, by the way?
No, I haven't heard from Deion.
He was pretty locked into Michigan.
I know, but if Deion calls, are you listening? I mean, are you at least listening to him?
I mean, not anymore. I'm signing that paper for Michigan.
Prime time.
You learn fast, Will.
Prime
you learn
time.
fast.
Really, personally, I think the biggest thing for me, I just can't wait to get there and just get working. I've been looking forward to that for a long time, just to get in the program, to get coached up by those coaches up there, and just get acclimated to the culture up there. So that's personally the thing I'm looking forward to the most.
Yeah, nice.
Hey, Will, how, if anything, did your recruitment change when the NIL name, image, likeness was passed? I mean, we heard from Lane Kiffin, the head coach of Ole Miss, saying that, everything has changed now. I've had guys come to me and say, this person says they're going to get this much from that person, and this, like money's being exchanged and all that stuff. Money's being promised. How was it for you? When was that name, image, likeness? What happened there? What was your experience like, for lack of a better way to say it?
I mean, there's obviously a lot more NIL deals and stuff like that for when you do get there, but I wouldn't say people used it to get me to come to their school, because that's not really allowed. But, I mean, obviously, if you make plays on the field and you're a good brand to endorse, a good endorsement for brands to have, I mean, you'll get a lot more deals and a lot more money in college. So, just got to take care of your business first.
Hey, man, I tell you like this right now. Well, anything you need, brother, I'm always in Ann Arbor. I'm always around. I talk to Anthony quite often. So as a former alum, my number is always on. It's always available to you, sir.
All right, thank you. Probably be hitting you up soon.
Hey, I look forward to it.
Hey, Will, how'd they treat you at Grosse Pointe South? That's the alma mater, of course, of one Ryan Ermanni over here.
Roll on,
how'd those Blue Devils,
Devils,
how'd those Devils treat you?
You were actually in one of my teacher's classes. You visited Mr. Pelletier.
I did.
Yeah, he showed us your video in our class, so I know about the show and all that. So yeah, they're.
How did I do? Did I do all right?
Yeah, you did. You did great.
Okay, good.
Hey, Will. Before I let you go, was there any great stories told to you about how great of a football player I was at Grosse Pointe South High School?
Absolutely.
Did anybody retire the number 35 anywhere? Did you see it around the building, or any sort of framed photos of me anywhere in the building?
No, but I heard you say you never came off the field. That's
ever.
He never got on the field.
Hey, man, you lay off my boy. You lay off my boy.
Thanks, Will. Will, we are huge fans of yours.
Definitely.
Congratulations to not only you, but your entire family, because it takes a village, man.
You're not kidding.
And congratulations to everybody that you're with today. Enjoy your signing day. We know you're going to be over there at Park, and man, we're huge fans of yours, and continued success, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
You bet.
We'll have you on to sing the victors when it's all said and done.
Yeah, that's right.
Can't wait to get him in that secondary, man.
Go
Be one of the
Blue,
next
Will.
greats.
Go Blue. All right.
Blue.
Will Johnson, everybody, the number one player in the state of Michigan.
That's awesome.
Just a perfect. Well, I don't want to use the word
Sweet
perfect.
kid.
Just a great young man. It is Michigan, Georgia coming up about, 10 days from today.
Ooh.
10 days. It feels like a year and a half since the last time Michigan played a football game. But here we go, guys. Michigan and Georgia. Braylon, I'll come to you first. I not only think Michigan can win this game, I expect them to win this game. There was no team hotter in the country when the college football season ended. I just fully expect Michigan to win this football game. Am I on the right track?
I fully expect Michigan to win a close game as well. I think they will control the game, the majority of the game, and they will win close. Very similar teams, both 12-1. Both defensive lines really good. Both defenses really good. Both quarterbacks, not necessarily the scoreboard up type quarterback type of managers. Their best player on the defensive line is Jordan Davis. He's the guy they talked about being in the top 10 draft picks all year. Our best player is Aiden Hutchinson, won the Lombardi this year. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be really interesting to see. The one thing I like about the time, because we keep talking about how long it takes you to get out of rhythm, is it allows players to get back healthy. It allows, and obviously for both teams. But look at Blake Corum. Blake Corum struggled a little bit in terms of that ankle injury against the Ohio State game. Got a little bit better in the Iowa game. Now, you fast forward a month later, he's going to be at 100%. So I'm excited to see that. I'm excited to see him get back. You get the big guys who had a long year. You get them some rest with the linemen in the trenches. Michigan can beat Georgia 100%. And this is why I like it, is because of all the different pieces that Michigan has and the variety of running backs, wide receivers, and little things that they do. They do a lot that Georgia has not seen, and that could cause some problems.
Yeah, I fully expect Michigan to beat Georgia as well, and for a number of reasons why. Because sometimes teams get overrated, and sometimes we fear them. If we think about when Michigan went down to Columbus 4 years ago, we had two pretty good pass rushers on our end that we thought pretty highly of. Ohio State didn't. And Ohio State single blocked those guys the entire game, and they never got close to Dwayne Haskins. So Georgia has these NFL-bound big run stoppers in the middle that everybody's saying, ooh, you can't do that. Are they really that good?
We don't know.
I tell you what Ohio State did. Ohio State thought the same thing about who they were playing when they played David Ajabo and Aiden Hutchinson. They single blocked them, and it didn't work.
And they continue to single block them,
they
too,
did.
which was
Here's my
stupid.
point about that. We need to find out if those guys are really that good, because they may not be. They may not be as good as advertised. And how I think we do that, and to your point, I think Blake Corum really brings the aspect in the game. And if we can employ a perimeter running and passing game and make those big guys chase, get them in the chase game where they got to run, who are they going to be in the fourth quarter?
Two players that I need to see have a big game on offense. Two players I expect them to get involved often and early. One you already know, Blake Corum. You just talked to him. He's going to be a world beater for us in that game. He's going to make a heck of a difference. Andrew Anthony Wood, he showed me in that Michigan State game. They haven't gone to him as much since because they have a lot of other players on that team. The way in which he catches the ball, the way in which he runs his routes, the way in which he can get down the field. He's a taller wide receiver, stretch the field a little bit. That'd be key in going against Georgia. The other thing about Georgia nobody talks about, what was their first game of the year, Dan? Who'd they play?
Clemson.
They played Clemson. Yeah. What was the final score?
10-3.
Yeah.
Clemson's not good.
No, they're not.
Clemson's not a good football team. No, they have one good win this year, and it was against Arkansas. It was against Arkansas when Arkansas was ranked 10th, and then Arkansas is nowhere near anybody's top 10 anymore. If you look at them against Alabama, walk into that death trap where everybody said, you guys are going to blow the doors off Bama. This isn't the same Bama. They walked into a team that could play. They walked into a team that could block. They walked into an offensive line that wasn't scared of their defensive line, to your point, and they got blown out. This team is beatable. They've proved it twice this year.
Michigan is in the last month, has been on a meteoric ascension. And so that can be good and that can be bad. We can be overconfident. Are we really that good or not? Our offensive coordinators have to be, particularly Josh Gaddis, he has to be on his game. He has to really make sure that he keeps his team off balance. But here's what we need to find out if our culture's in place or not. Because I actually expect Georgia to make some plays and may go up 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. What are we going to do? Are we going to say, oh my God, this is not what we've not faced.
And abandon everything that you do?
We've not faced a team like Georgia all year, and I grant all that. But also, are we going to say, oh, okay, now we see what we got now. We got something coming for you in the second half. So we'll find out what kind of culture we got when we play these guys in the first half of that game.
Here's my problem with Georgia, too. And it's something that Rocky told Clubber Lang. You ain't so bad. You ain't so bad. You ain't so bad.
Right.
I mean, look, Clemson, and I don't look at the rankings of when you played them. Clemson was number 3 in the country when they played them. Auburn, number 18 in the country. Kentucky, number 11 in the country. You know, you can go down the list. Georgia has not played a good team all year except for Alabama. And if you want to give me Kentucky, that's fine. Kentucky finished 9-3, but oh, by the way, Kentucky didn't play anybody either. So there's their 9 wins. This is one of them. I'm an Italian. We call this schedule a fugazi.
Hey.
All right.
Okay?
Yeah.
I mean,
this
schedule that Georgia has had this year has been a fugazi.
Yeah.
They have not
So
played.
is Michigan's.
I don't know, man.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
And okay,
They're even.
Here's the difference.
They're not even.
Here's the
but
difference.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Here's the difference. When Michigan played a good team in Ohio State, Michigan punched them in the mouth.
Right.
Georgia, when they got punched in the mouth, they just laid down and got their butts whooped by Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, Alabama was toying with them at the end. So,
It's a different game, bro.
well, we'll see. And this
It's a
is the way
different
I
game.
want. As a Michigan fan, this is the way I want it. I want to go win an SEC championship on the way to winning the national championship because all we hear is the SEC. So give me Georgia, then give me Bama. I'm glad we're not number 1 playing Cincinnati because you know you're going to have all those people on the side. Oh, well, you beat Cincinnati to get there.
Sure.
You
By
know,
the
this
way-
is the way I want it done.
By the way, that was a fair comment, but at the end of the day, Michigan's schedule was better. Michigan had to go into a Penn State, which is always a hard place to play. And oh, by the way, who did Penn State beat? They beat Auburn as well. They had to go into East Lansing and play a tough team in Michigan State. They beat Ohio State, and then Iowa doesn't count. Michigan's schedule to me is a little bit better, but I definitely see where you're coming from.
But
I want to ask you,
go ahead.
Stan.
Sure.
The month off. Don't you think it hurts Michigan more than it hurts Georgia?
I think so. Well, I think it hurts a program that is not used to going into the playoffs. And if you don't know how to manage, I'm sure Jim Harbaugh is probably, if in his relationships with teams who have had to manage that time off, do we overwork them? Do we underwork them? Are they going to be tired going into the game, or are they going to be rusty going into the game? Are their time and rhythm going to be off? That's where coaching comes into play. But let me say something, guys, and I really, guys, want you to really pay attention to this. Everybody that starts for Georgia is not a 5-star. Everybody that starts for Georgia is not all SEC. Everybody that starts for Georgia is not going to the league. So everybody look at that as an SEC team, oh, wow, they have some weak spots in there, and we need to exploit them. There are a bunch of players on Georgia team that would not start in Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Georgia has 2 All-Americans. Guess how many All-Americans Michigan has? 2. Let's get this party started.
Yeah.
Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Hey, man, welcome to Detroit. Man, I tell you what, we did everything we said we needed to do to that team. We did everything. And I tell you what, defense, you took it personal. It's 3 and out, man. You guys are making them have to punt. We turn the ball over offensively, right? And then we defensively, Ermanni 2-4, get a turnover. tell you what, offensively, man, we came after them early, man. We said we're going to be aggressive. We took some shots, and we made them. We made our shots early, and then we just started hammering them. Hell, our first drive was 8 minutes, man. You guys are a tough, gritty group, man. You're a tough, gritty group. You always have been, and now you're seeing the dividends. Man, look, a team gets 1 out, 2 out. We got multiple guys.
And that went on for quite some time. And I think, Braylon, in that locker room celebration, you saw those guys. And, man, the way they play for Dan Campbell, that is how you build something here. And I'm here for it.
You asked me yesterday, not yesterday, you asked me last week. You said, hey, what do you want to see from the Lions to finish the season out? What were you looking for from the Lions in the last 4 games of the season? And I said, hey, I just want to see Dan Campbell make smart decisions. I don't want to see him mess up in situations where it's on him, situational football. I want to see him power through those. I don't want to see him make repetitious mistakes that he's made all year. Also, you want to see this team. The defense has been playing so well in terms of keeping the Detroit Lions in games all season. I said you want to see a team fighting from first quarter to fourth quarter. You want to see a team that you look at and you believe in. You want to see the picks of Brad Holmes. You want to see them getting better. Yesterday, I think you saw that. You want to see a team fight. I think you saw that. Dan Campbell, clean. It's a clean game by him. I mean, there's always going to be a couple things that you can point out, but it was a clean game by him. And then you see his enthusiasm in the locker room. That's real. It's very genuine. It's going to be a lot of Detroit fans that are like, oh, Detroit Lions, they always blow it. They always blow it. Now they don't have the number 1 pick. It doesn't matter if the Detroit Lions draft 1 or 2. The player
or 10.
No, 1, 2, or 3. I give you that. They're going to be able to get the player that they want. It's either going to be Kayvon or it's going to be Aiden Hutchinson. So I love the win, and I'm not worried about whether it's 1 or 2.
Yeah.
By the way, yesterday during our pregame show, it could be someone Ryan brought up, as a matter of fact, and it could be a quarterback.
Kenny Pickett.
But you know what? The quarterback that played good yesterday, Jared Goff, it just looks like he's happy now. You see him in the locker room. He's the first guy front and center next to Dan Campbell. Another guy that was really playing good, linebacker Charles Harris. Right after the game, they caught up with him and asked him, how you guys play for Dan Campbell. Check this out. This tells you it all.
It's been said that this team is cut from the same cloth as your head coach, Dan Campbell. What does that mean?
Straight up grit. Just never backing down. You might get knocked down, but you're going to get back up. And just never quitting. Relentlessly just getting back up no matter what.
There you go.
You know, the one thing about this team, too, and Braylon, you brought it up about, you know, it seems to be the story of the day for Lions fans has been, well, their draft position is screwed up. Well, they don't have the number 1 pick anymore. And I'll tell you, if they play like this, they're not done winning.
No.
They could pick off the Atlanta Falcons this week. Yeah. They could win against the Seattle Seahawks, who are not a very good football team. We'll find out tomorrow against the Rams. They are playing for their lives, but if they lose that game against the Rams, what are they going to do next week? I don't think the Lions are done winning yet if they play like they did yesterday. And I am here to tell you I think that is okay. I believe for these young Lions, it's almost more important, not almost, it is more important for these young Lions to experience winning and get on a track of winning and believe in winning and have the confidence to go about a football game and win it. And then you come back next year, and if you pick 2, 3, 5, 7, you're going to get a nice player, and hopefully that player can contribute next year.
Well, hopefully he's more mean than he is nice. But you're 100% correct, though, Ryan. Literally, if they get down to the 5th pick, I think the disparity between the talent in the draft this year, if you go 1 or 5, you're pretty much getting the same type of player. So I don't think it is a big deal, and I agree with you there. Them winning yesterday, excuse me. Let's take a look at what they did. They played against Kyler Murray. We talked about him being a generational talent. We talked about him being worth the price of admission, correct? We talked about the Arizona Cardinals being able to win games without major players all year. They have found a way to win. They're one of the best teams in the NFL. In fact, coming into the game yesterday, they were tied for the best record in the NFL. The Detroit Lions dismantled them.
Yeah.
Like offense, defense, physicality, in the trenches. They won every way in which you can win during those 60 minutes. That's a good sign. That is what you want to see from this team. Going to the last 3 games of the season, you want to see that because you're like, oh, my God, these guys might get it. Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell might get it. This might be the start of something special. So I think it was a heck of a win, and I want them to win. I want them to put the effort that they did yesterday. I want to see that next week. And
how about these guys? How about these rookies that are playing? How about St. Brown?
That's exactly it, Maz. That's exactly. You got St. Brown, and I know he's not a rookie; he's a third-year player. But what you're seeing right now, Oruwariye, I have trouble saying his name, Ermanni. I mean, he's playing really well. Amon-Ra St. Brown's playing well, and we just take Sewell for granted.
Craig Reynolds,
look, and I was going to mention him, Maz and Braylon.
Josh Reynolds as well.
Him too.
I was going to mention Craig Reynolds as is the one thing about this whole Lions month and a half is one thing you're seeing is a little bit of an identity. What is this team going to do? They're going to run the football, and they're going to punch you in the mouth defensively. In those two positions, defense and running back, how about giving Dan Campbell a little bit of credit for the guys he hired to those positions? Woo. Deuce Staley, the running backs coach, and Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator.
I hope they don't get picked off.
But if they do... If they do, that means that Dan Campbell's continuing to make the right decisions.
Yeah.
You want your guys to move on, right? I mean, don't you want your guys to get hired in bigger spots? I mean, what Aaron Glenn is doing defensively,
amazing,
with this young crew is nothing short of one of the most spectacular things I've seen this NFL season. We expected this team to be worse defensively than they were last year, and they're among... Heck, what is that, 6 games now under 20 points?
Yeah, what I was going to say is I'm going to start with, first of all, you don't have to worry about Aaron Glenn or Deuce Staley, those guys getting picked up, because they don't hire too many black coaches often. It takes a long time for them to get hired, just jokes. But when you look at Josh Reynolds, and we talked about this, Ryan, he did 4 years with Jared Goff in L.A. Mm-hmm. He knows Jared Goff. He knows the system. He played with Brandon Cooks. He played with Cooper Kupp. He played with Robert Woods. Look at what the Lions have done since he's been there. Amon-Ra St. Brown's, his play has picked up since Josh Reynolds has been there. The receiving game has picked up since Josh Reynolds has been there. He was a huge acquisition, and you got to give Brad Holmes credit for that. As soon as he got there, it was almost like Jared Goff has a sense of familiarity.
Amen.
He has like a sense of familiarity. Like, oh, you know what? I can do this. I do know this thing. He knows my stuff.
It's improved everything.
100%. He is a really good acquisition for the Detroit Lions. He's like an unsung hero.
He's a keeper.
Oh, 100%.
You will hear from Craig Reynolds. You will hear from Jared Goff. You're going to hear more from Dan Campbell. Lots to get to on a Lions Monday, baby. Man. Yes! Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Congratulations. Thanks. I know you're finding your guys here. First Big Ten title. You came home to Michigan for a reason. Describe the moment.
Oh, it feels great. Incredible moment. Players played great. Hassan Haskins, right here. Kane McNamara, Aiden Hutchinson.
The legacy.
Can't be more proud of these guys.
Of the veterans, Coach, because you've complimented them all year. Yeah. How they were a part of this turnaround. What can you tell me about this group?
Well, we wouldn't be here without them. What these men were able to do when nobody said they could do it, they didn't listen to it and just worked and found a way. Where there's a will, there's a way, and the will was strong.
When I say Michigan football is playoff bound, quickly, Coach, give me your reaction.
Fired up.
Fired up.
Up to the guys.
Thanks, Coach.
Great moment right there. You saw Tyler Goodson from Iowa, the running back number 15, come up to Hassan Haskins and give him some love. It's always good. That's one thing I can say about the experience. You know, being out there in Indy, Iowa fans were really gracious. It was really a respect from Iowa, respect from Michigan. But enough with Iowa. Let's get back into Michigan. Let's get back to the big deal. Man, did Michigan fans come in droves. It was nervous Friday. There weren't a lot of Michigan people there. And I was there Friday night, saw all Iowa. I was like, oh, man, what are we doing? What's going on? What's in the water? And you realize that all Michigan fans were driving up on Saturday. And, man, when they got there, they came in droves. They were so loud at that stadium. We couldn't hear on the Fox broadcast, the big Fox broadcast for Twitter that I did. Could not hear anything. We were yelling and screaming over Jeff Schwartz, Devin Gardner, R.J. Young, yelling over each other. Michigan was so loud. It was a home game like no other. And the other interesting thing about it, they're similar colors. Like it's kind of dark in Lucas Oil. You see yellow, or excuse me, disrespect. Actually, let me say yellow so it won't be Michigan. Yellow and black, and then you see Mays in this navy blue, this dark deep blue. It looks the same. So when you hear Michigan cheering, it erupted. So if you're in Iowa, you're like, man, do we have any fans? And then once they came out, they booed. It seems like it's all Michigan fans booing you. They were singing, like Mr. Brightside came on in the fourth quarter. Shout out to the Michigan fans. They were amazing. Mr. Brightside came on in the fourth. They took over the Michigan chants. Like, it's great to be a Wolverine. You heard that all game. And the team felt the energy, man. Like, the energy was just, it was at a level that's hard to describe. And being in that, man, waiting for that moment as a fan, as an alum, as a player, watching these Michigan fans like get the moment they wanted, get the moment they waited for, going to school. How many fans have not seen Michigan do this? How many teams have been left without witnessing a Big Ten championship? You got to witness a national championship.
Yep.
You got to witness Big Ten championships. You know what that feel like. You know what it did to your college experience.
It was expected.
It was, but it also still felt good in your college experience. These fans haven't seen this. These kids haven't seen this. Guys went to school at 18. They're now 35 and haven't seen it. Man, they came in droves, and Michigan felt the energy, and that's why they got it done.
That's a home game.
Yeah.
They win one more game, and they have another home game. Alabama coming east for the first time instead of playing down south somewhere out in Texas. Win that game against Georgia, and you have a home game against whoever wins that Alabama-Cincinnati game.
And man, oh man, I did think about that too, just being in Indianapolis and having the experience of playing in that stadium too, if you can win one more game. Braylon, talk about what you did for Fox that night, because I saw you under so many people watching you guys.
Yeah. We had over
talk about
500,000.
your experience.
It was great. It was over 500,000 people. Basically, what we did was kind of like the Mannings, how they do their simulcast.
Yeah, that's how I took it. Yeah,
it's like the Mannings, how they did. Funny story about that, but how the Mannings did their simulcast on Monday Night Football is it was myself, R.J. Young, Fox analyst, Devin Gardner, Detroit's own, as well as Michigan guy, and then Jeff Schwartz, who played at Oregon and played in the NFL for the Kansas City Chiefs, as well as what was the other team he played for? It'll come to me anyway. Carolina Panthers. But at the end of the day, man, it was fun. It was like watching the game. You get the energy of the crowd. The crowd's behind it. Sometimes it was hard to talk. It was fun watching and being able to break it down. But it's a process. It is tough doing Twitter for 4 hours, and we're just it was nonstop breaks.
Do we have a little something there, Alex? Let's show a little Braylon Edwards here in action. Lumberjack.
This is it. That's it.
There we go.
That's the last time we won. My goodness.
You see, I don't have a voice.
That's the last time we saw it. We got a throwback. Please look at
I was, as you can tell, I'm a homer. I couldn't help being a homer on the broadcast, man. It was a touchdown. This was the flea.
That was a flea flicker.
What'd I say?
Where have I heard that before?
What did he say?
What did I tell you?
Say it again.
What did I tell you?
By the way, getting back to the game, getting back kind of to the X's and O's, like, see, this is the things that we talk about with Josh Gaddis. These are the things where we talk about where they're hiding content, where he's keeping some things hidden, waiting for the right moment, waiting for the the Ohio State game to do what they did on the first drive with the first touchdown, with the fake, and then you pass it to A.J. Henning. You see that? The flea flicker pass, people forgot that Donovan Edwards played quarterback at West Bloomfield High School the last 9 games of the season. He's a quarterback / running back / receiver, as Maz likes to say as
He's
well.
a unicorn.
These are things that Josh Gaddis has in his bag, as they call it. He went to the bag, and once he went early, once they realized they could do this early, and then Iowa blew it on their first drive. When they didn't get their trick play, they used all that they had on the first drive. They came out spread. You never see Iowa go spread. They came out with a flea flicker. You never see Iowa do flea flickers. They came out with a bunch of tricks and a bunch of different things in the first drive, and then didn't get it, missed the field goal. I said, the game is over. The game is over. That's why you see Michigan start off like this. They scored back-to-back touchdowns, back-to-back drives in different ways, open it up. Hassan Haskins didn't even play on the first 2 drives. Once Iowa didn't get it on that first drive, once Michigan had that success, Michigan
pulled back, and you saw Michigan just rely on defense and kind of chill. Second half, they went to running because they knew they didn't have to score points. They didn't have to be that creative, and they didn't have to outcoach themselves. And that's what you saw. They're saving it, and God darn it, they're saving it for the Georgia Bulldogs.
They still haven't given up a first quarter touchdown except opening the game
Western
against
Michigan.
Western. That's been it. So, and when I was down there, first and goal, I was like, see if they can hang in there. Because that's a hell of a thing. If you can hold the team off the scoreboard, except for a field goal in that first quarter, that's a huge start for yours. And once Michigan hit those two big plays, you saw the Iowa fans. They were
dejected.
You can see the memes. The one guy, if they put the Michael Jordan face on him already.
Yeah, they showed him like 3 times.
I mean, it's over. It's over.
I talked about it during the broadcast, like on the after the first drive, when they went with the trick play, the tight end kind of tripped. But the running back threw it too far. You know what I'm saying? The running back kind of tripped.
Yeah.
I said, this is going to be the biggest play in the game. And Devin Gardner disagreed with me. And George Schwartz disagreed with me. And R.J. Young disagreed. Oh, it's early in the game. What are you talking about? I said, these guys just pulled out everything they had on the first drive. And they had a guy wide open in the end zone, and they missed him. You think Michigan's going to let them do that again? Ooh. Just imagine if they scored a touchdown on the drive.
Different game.
Michigan's thinking differently. Now they don't. Now they try to do more trick stuff, and maybe they outcoach themselves to a certain extent. But them not getting that and them not having it, they got down there again on the second drive, came away with no points. Game was over.
I played squares. Everyone plays squares once in a while. I had Iowa 7. They never even got to a freaking 7 for me. So, I didn't have to look the rest of the day. As long as they didn't get a 7, my squares were shot.
It is just a quick side note. You mentioned the Donovan Edwards. He feels like Michigan's next Heisman Trophy winner, or Michigan's next Heisman Trophy candidate.
Hopeful.
Let me put it like that. Hopeful.
Yeah.
That guy can do it all.
He
can do it all.
He reminds me of, if you ever seen Friday Night Lights. I know you guys have. If you ever seen Friday Night Lights when the game's first coming on, and his uncle is describing Booby, he said the boy can throw the ball, the boy can run the ball, the boy can catch the ball. Look at that. The boy is even getting Gatorade for the players out there. He reminds me of Booby Miles. He can do it all, man. And saw Corm yesterday after the game. He gave me a big hug, and it's true what they say. He is strong because he almost broke my doggone back. This is John you bacon over here, but this is
John
Corm. Corm, man, strong guy, man. Got Blake Corm, and you got Donovan Edwards in the backfield at Michigan with J.J. McCarthy next year, or potentially Cade McNamara, however they want to spin it. Man, feels special. It feels special.
I'm glad you said that because it does feel like Michigan is back. It feels like this is not a team that is going to be a one-and-done kind of one-year hitter and then we'll get out of here. It does feel like they've got players in the pipeline that can keep this thing going for quite some time. Now, I know on the offensive line they got 3 guys, one of which is definitely gone, but they've got 2 more. We'll see. Yep. They do have each a year of eligibility, so as you try to project this football team moving forward, sure, they're losing some guys. Yeah. But coming into this season, nobody really ever thought of Hassan Haskins, who was going to be this great. Nobody said David Ojabo, besides Braylon, nobody said David Ojabo was going to be end up being a top 10 NFL draft pick. Nobody thought Daxton Hill was going to be a first-round pick. Had talent, but you see what I'm saying. Guys come and develop, and over the course of a year, they stand out. That's how a program is made.
And the reason why you can put it together, like, in order to win championships, you need players. In order to get championships, but players, you got to win. They're one right now at the highest level. They're winning nationally. The three highest rated games so far this season. Before, I don't know the ratings for SEC. I can't imagine they're better. Are Michigan. They've seen Michigan win. They've seen Michigan on the highest level. And by Harbaugh going to get those young coaches, going to get Ron Bellamy out of West Bloom High School, who bought Donovan Edwards, going to get Mike Hart. They have the connectivity to when they go recruit. When they go into these living rooms, these young guys can recruit. They can talk to these young players and connect. Michigan is far from over up there in Ann Arbor.
Coming back, you're going to hear from Jim Harbaugh, an interaction he had yesterday on the college football playoff selection show. Him and Reese Davis, of course, the final college football playoff rankings, and where where Michigan State is going as well. Lots to get to on a Michigan Monday. Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
I want to bring in JP Shadrick, senior reporter, host for the Jacksonville Jaguars, online on Twitter at JP Shadrick. JP, how you doing? So, first of all, thanks so much for the time.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys. Really appreciate it, Ryan, Braylon, guys. It's good to be with you.
Absolutely. Obviously, this is a huge story all throughout the sports world, what's happened to Urban Meyer. How would you, just big picture, characterize his time as head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars up until the end?
You know, maybe outgunned a little bit. You know, I think he was trying to figure out the NFL. He said he had studied it, and you can watch it all you want. You can ask questions of other people who've been around the league. But once you're actually in the fight every day and having to be in that locker room and work with players and assistant coaches from different backgrounds and an ownership, and there's just a lot of different dynamics in the NFL that he had never really seen before firsthand. And I think as the season went along, he was trying to just continue to figure that out, and obviously it wasn't going the right way at all. And I heard your list earlier of things in the offseason and all that, but this really, certainly for me at least, escalated on that Thursday Night Football, Week 4, and then he went to Columbus and didn't come back with the team after the game when the team's 0-4 and had just lost a tight football game, and they're close. The quarterback was playing well at that point. They could come back and try to figure some things out. Well, he didn't come back with the team, and then doubled down and said, you know, oh, hey, I was going back to visit some family. Some things happened. Okay. Well, 10 minutes after that press conference, the video comes out. So proving that there were some other things that were going on there. So that was, I think, the first real big thing during the season. And then everybody was on notice from that point, including the owner, Shad Khan. And then all of a sudden, as the season went along, you start hearing those conversations of players and assistant coaches. They're having some issues. And then this past weekend, the reports come out on Saturday before the game with Tom Pelissero of NFL Media of Marvin Jones Jr., who is a 10-year pro in the NFL and has never really had an issue anywhere. One of the great guys in the league had an issue here. And there were a couple other reports in that story. Then the Jags go out and get shut out in Tennessee. Worst performance of the year, 20-0. And you could tell the crescendo rising in the days after this game. So that, for me, that's really where this thing turned the wrong way for Urban Meyer, was that decision after Thursday Night Football to not come home.
Yeah, JP, you know, we're in Detroit as analysts. We're analyzing another franchise that doesn't seem to have it all together, and that being the Detroit Lions. But when we analyze them, we don't analyze Dan Campbell not coming back with the team and, you know, end up getting caught on Snapchat or social media doing something he shouldn't have been doing. And then also we don't have former kickers coming out on Dan Campbell talking about he kicked him and also made a comment that goes above the kick. Do you think what Urban Meyer has done down there, and this is just me not being there, although I have the shirt and although I have some family.
He loves the Jags, JP. He loves the Jags.
Well, my brother-in-law is Marcus Pollard, so I have every reason to cheer for. Yeah, Marcus is my brother, so hence why I get all the Jaguars gear. But do you think Urban needs to be out down there? Do you think people are making too much of what's going on? Is it something that we're not getting? Is there a disconnect, or is everything people perceive in the media to be true?
No, it seemed pretty close to true. I mean, just all the reports and everything, and it all just kind of piled up. And to your point there about the Jaguars owner, Shad Khan, you know, in the past year, he has been very, very, very patient with head coaches. Gus Bradley got 4 years here on a rebuilt roster, and then they finally had to let him go. Doug Marrone was the interim for 2 games at the end of 2016 after Gus Bradley. He got 4 years. They went to an AFC Championship game 1 year, but they were not very good the rest of those years, and they had a very good roster. And, of course, Tom Coughlin was on top of all that. There was a lot of cooks in the kitchen, if you will, in that time frame with the Jaguars. But Doug Marrone got 4 years. And then Marrone gets canned, and here comes Urban Meyer. And Shad Khan is one of the most patient owners in the NFL. He's proven that with the way he's gone about the business. But it was so much that has happened off the field here, and you're still 2-11, and you're getting so much criticism. Well, in the past, you're 2-11, and nobody cares because you're the lowly Jaguars, as Shad Khan put it the other day. Well, no more. It's top of the fold. It's on CNN. It's on ESPN. It's on CNBC today. It's everywhere that you're 2-11 and you have off the field issues. So I think Mr. Khan had just had enough of that, the outside noise that goes with it. You know, let's just get back to football, and I think that's the right step in the right direction.
JP, Tom Mazawey, thanks for coming on with us. We appreciate it. I want to talk to you about the hirings of Darrell Bevel and Joe Cullen. Was that his demise? Because in reality, the guy wants to win. That's to a fault. He wants to win. So I've heard from sources that he takes losing hard. He brings it in on a Monday and a Tuesday. He's still mad about Sunday. He's still yelling. He calls out some of his coaches. But in reality, he would have let them do their thing had they been doing it the right way. Did he hire the wrong coaches? Is that why he is not going to be sticking around?
I will say this, on the defensive side of the ball, as the season has gone along, I think Joe Cullen has started to figure it out a little bit as a coordinator, calling the plays. Now, they're not a top 10 defense or anything of that nature, but they had some really issues early stopping the pass. They switched up some things in the back end of the defense, and the number one thing for them is going to stop the run. And then all of a sudden they're going to bring some pressure. That's what Joe Cullen's going to do. And as the season has gone along, that's actually been one of the bright spots for this team. They're playing good enough defense for the most part to keep an NFL team in a game. But the offense can't do anything right now. And they can't do anything at all. And since the bye week, they're scoring 9.1 points per game. That's in week 7 was the bye week. They were shut out last week. They are having issues if they hand it off, running the football, but they haven't really handed it off a lot to James Robinson. And then they don't have the personnel, at least consistently on the outside, to get open down the field for Trevor Lawrence. The offensive line had a bad pass-blocking game last week, especially on the interior, so Trevor didn't have much time, so it's really kind of come down to that. So I'm not going to put it on the coordinator hires as much, because Urban said it when he came in. Hey, I'm going to be hard on assistant coaches, not as hard on players. We're going to coach the players and get them right the right way. And to a point, you still have to have really good football players. They just don't have enough of those, I think, on the offensive side to hang week to week in the NFL, no matter who's dialing it up. That's, I think, for me, the deeper problem now with the Jaguars' offense.
And, JP, that's one of the things, too, in the problem with a college guy like Urban moving to the NFL. 24 out of every 25 games he played in college, he had more talent than the team he was playing.
Yeah.
I mean, that is just something that you cannot replicate in the NFL. And when the quarterback, the number one overall pick, which for 2 years prior, everybody knew Trevor Lawrence was going to be the number one pick of the draft wherever he went. So you've got this what many people believe is a generational talent in Trevor Lawrence, God's gift to quarterbacking, who is getting worse every day or every week. It spelled doom from the start, seemingly.
And that's the one, and that's where I think where it really came down to it on Monday and Tuesday when Trevor Lawrence spoke with the media after the game on Sunday and then again on Wednesday. Yesterday during the day, they asked him pretty much straight up, hey, with all this drama and everything going on here, can you guys move forward and get to where you want to be? And he just came out and said, no, the drama has to stop. We have to get back to playing football and not be on the headlines. And when the quarterback says that, oh, wait a minute. Okay, now he's the face of the franchise. He's the first overall pick. It's the first time the Jaguars have ever had the number one overall pick. They've been bad a lot, but they haven't been bad enough to get the number one pick, and they finally did, and they have a quarterback that they feel can be the franchise guy for a long time. When he starts to go in front of a microphone and say things like that, and then last week, the same thing. Hey, we need James Robinson on the field. I don't know why he's getting benched for 16 straight snaps. We had a conversation on the sideline. We need him on the field. I don't call the plays and everything, but that's that kind of thing you're starting to hear more and more from Trevor Lawrence. Shad Khan knows that. He hears it, and he understands the importance of Trevor Lawrence to this franchise, to this city, and the franchise is his. And it was not Urban Meyer's. It's certainly Trevor Lawrence's show, and it's a matter now of how they can salvage what's left of this season for him and then put the right pieces around him to make him get back on track. Because when he's on track, he's everything is advertised, and he's everything you want off the field, too. Anything you want in front of a microphone to represent your organization, Trevor Lawrence is that guy. Just hasn't had the success yet on the field. But if you circle him with people that are the right for him, he's going to be great.
JP, do you think Urban Meyer will coach again?
I don't think so. It's funny you're talking about earlier before I came on. Is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? All that stuff. I just don't have a feel of him going back in the coaching ranks, at least immediately, because of the aftermath of all this right now. Certainly not in the NFL. Maybe down the line when it gets, a couple years removed, some college gig maybe. But you got to remember, he's getting a little older now too. By that time, he'll be in his 60s. Does he really want to do this? He was really good on television, obviously. So do they want him back? Does he even want to do that again? I don't know. That's a great question because now here's the thing about Urban too. I hosted the Urban Meyer Show every Tuesday afternoon on the Jaguars radio network, and he would come on and do 30 minutes with us. When the mic's on, fantastic. But he was so locked in and seemingly focused on the task at hand at football that we really didn't get to know him otherwise. Like, it was just on the air, and that was it. So that's the one regret I have, because I think if you get in his circle and get to know him a little bit, then he can be a fascinating, person to talk to. But nobody could really kind of crack that egg here, at least in our department, in our world. The media department, the same thing, which is right or wrong, I don't know. That's just the way it was around here. So to answer your question, I don't think so. Why would he have to? Why would he want to go through that headache of what he just went through again, when he can go be an analyst or go sit on a boat somewhere? I don't think that's an issue. But I haven't talked to him one-on-one personally to ask him that.
JP Shadrick, he is the senior reporter and host on the Jacksonville Jaguars radio network. We thank you so much for your time, JP, and your insight on this firing. Urban Meyer out, Darrell Bevell in. So Darrell Bevell has had to replace Matt Patricia of the Lions last year, and now Urban Meyer this year. Hell of a trek there for Darrell Bevell. JP, thanks so much.
Yeah, he won his debut last year, remember, by the way. They rallied, so let's hope we can do that again. And, hey, thanks for the sweatshirt, Braylon. Good to talk to you. And get the sweatshirts for all the rest of your guys, too.
I am. I'm going to get some more from Marcus, man. There's some more support down there in Jacksonville, especially you got Urban out there, man. The guys that seem going to have more fun now, so I'll get some more of those.
Hey, we're big Marvin Jones Jr. fans,
yes,
too. He's been a great guy here for a long, long time.
Fish.
We are,
too. All right, JP. Thanks so much. I got the Baez part wrong, but I'm telling you guys, this Carlos Correa thing was never going to happen. You're looking at a 10-year contract, upwards of $350 to $385 million.
It's not over yet, man.
Done. I just don't think it's going to happen.
El Mago can play second base.
Yeah, all right, we'll see. Hey, let's bring him in. Tony Paul, sports writer, Detroit News. Tony, how you doing, bud?
Very good. You just were asking if anyone can hear you. I can tell you honestly that it's never a problem. We always hear you, Brian.
Shots fired.
Thanks, Tony. Well,
hey, Tony.
Great to have you along with us here. Just first your take from the signing today. Obviously, two-part question: the signing of Baez, 6 to 140, and then obviously there are going to be a number of fans disappointed that this Correa thing didn't happen, and we anticipate it won't happen. But just your take on those 2 points.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are disappointed that it didn't happen, and I get it. Look, Chris Ilitch kind of sold you that this was going to be the offseason where you went and spent big, and I guess we didn't clarify how big. The reality is, you're right. $350 million was a lot to spend on one guy, and I'm not sure that people thought that Correa's deal was going to be that. But once Corey Seager signs with the Rangers for $325. I think that pretty much paints your picture on where Correa stands. The Tigers made an offer to Correa, but it obviously wasn't for 10 years. It was in the $30 million range, but it wasn't for 10 years. So they tried. They made their best shot, and they ended up getting a pretty good shortstop. I know fans, because he's not Carlos Correa, they're down on this signing, but you have to look at it from a couple aspects. One, does he upgrade your offense? Yes, significantly. Does he upgrade your defense? Yes, significantly. And you got him for half the price and half the years that you would have spent on Carlos Correa. So I like it on this one caveat: if they're not done, if they still go out, because El Avila was asked about this at the Eduardo Rodriguez press conference. He was asked, about Correa, and he said we have multiple needs. That was after the Rodriguez signing. So if he's saying multiple needs after that, then this signing would lead you to believe that the Tigers need to go out and do more. And I think they're still going to get a pretty decent starting pitcher in addition to Rodriguez. They were in on Robbie Ray, and I think they're kind of kicking the tires at another starting pitcher. So as long as they don't stop here, if this isn't the end of the offseason, I think it's a fine signing. He's not Carlos Correa, but he's not Zach Short either. And on one radio station across town, there's a comparison being made by the host of Javier Baez to Jonathan Scope, which is just ridiculous. I mean, this guy
doesn't even make sense, Tony. It doesn't even make sense. I mean, this
guy's better than that.
It's a huge upgrade. Huge upgrade.
100%.
And you stick him into that lineup, Tony, in what, look, the strikeout rate is something that, you know, what are you going to do about, right? I mean, the guy strikes out a lot, but he does make everybody better in that lineup as well. I mean, Miguel Cabrera has not had somebody like that hitting anywhere near him for the better part of four years.
No, I mean, he's a four WAR guy last year. He's a 6 WAR guy or above the years before that. If you take out the COVID season, where he was miserable, there's just no denying that he was awful in 2020. But you know, you haven't had a 6 WAR guy in Detroit since when? Like, I mean, it's been 5-6 years. So he's a huge upgrade from what they had. Yeah, if I had to choose, I'm going to take Correa. I think he's obviously a little bit better with the bat, and you know, I mean, pretty good defensively as well. But the Tigers decided that they wanted to go a different route. They wanted to go a little bit less money so that they'd have more money to spend. The one thing I've read on Twitter today that I don't understand is that people calling the Tigers cheap. And look, Chris Ilitch has committed $225 million to payroll this offseason, which is third in baseball behind the Mets and the Rangers. And again, they're probably not done. So it's a start. But again, it's just got to be a start. You know, there's still got to be probably another starting pitcher, maybe another reliever, and who knows. But if it's not the end of the off season, I think it's a pretty good deal.
This guy's got a fire in him, Tony. This is a literal Detroit versus everybody kind of guy. I mean, I love this guy in the lineup. I love this guy on the team. I think he elevates the team. And not only that, I think other players are going to start looking at Detroit and saying they got something going there, like Pudge Rodriguez did back in the day. I really believe the Tigers are maybe a player, maybe get a closer or another pitcher, someone like that, maybe an outfielder, whatever. We're going to get Riley Green. This team is ready to have a chance to be a wild card team.
Well, especially if they increase the number of playoff teams to 7, then I think you got a pretty good chance. All of a sudden, I think you're a legit contender. Yeah, no, they're on the cusp. You know, people, you know, you look at what you added. Okay, the Tigers were one of the worst teams defensively for the last 5 years. You added a major upgrade defensively behind the plate in Tucker Barnhart. You added a major upgrade defensively at shortstop in Javi Baez. You probably add a major upgrade defensively at center field in Riley Green, or a corner outfield spot or whatnot. You're so much better defensively with Riley Green, who we assume will probably make the team out of spring training. You're so much better offensively with him and Baez. Rodriguez, I think, fills the void left by Matthew Boyd, and if you get another starting pitcher, I think you're pretty solid there. Yeah, this team's on the cusp. If you take them out, if you take April out of the equation last year, they were already in the mix. You could see the development coming with a lot of these guys, especially the young starting pitchers. I think they're right there on the doorstep, and I think one or two more moves. And yeah, and I agree with you as well. Javi Baez is going to be very popular here. I know he's not Carlos Correa, but I think it won't take long for him to appeal to the fans in Detroit.
Tony Paul joins us, Detroit News. Tigers making some news. Baseball itself making some huge news. We all knew it was going to happen. Tony, tell us what's going to happen about this work stoppage, where it goes. I see National League teams now looking at some of these DHs because I believe finally baseball is going to come to their senses and have the universal DH. What's your take on all of this? Fill us in on baseball in general.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I think, you know, I'm not a huge fan of Rob Manfred. I've been on record. I think ever since I worked in radio with you, Maz, I've been on record of not being a big fan of Rob Manfred. I think he tries too hard to appeal to to change the game, and I think like the increased postseason. I don't like the runner on second base. I don't like limiting how many batters or making a relief pitcher throw to a minimum number of batters. I think this is all nonsense. But if there's one thing I think that's the right thing to do, it's been right for a long time, is I don't know how you have two leagues that play with two different sets of rules. It's been going on since the 70s. So the DH has to be universal, and I think it's going to. And I think that's why you've seen some guys kind of hold off on signing until this collective bargaining agreement gets done. I mean, you obviously saw a lot of moves with all the shortstop signing and all the starting pitchers because they want to sign before free agency freezes, and it will tomorrow at midnight for however long. I don't think that baseball's in danger of, missing games to start the season. I think they'll figure this out before then. I mean, you got two sides both getting rich. I think they'll figure it out. But I think you've seen some guys kind of in a holding pattern free agent-wise, like a Nick Castellanos, right? Or other guys go, because can Nick sign with a National League team for 8 years? Probably not,
He can if it's a DH.
Unless they have the DH, right.
Yeah.
So I think that's why you see some guys hold off to see where we go. But I think that's probably the one move Rob Manfred's ever pushed for that I agree with, is the universal DH. I think we're heading in that direction.
Tony, is there a starting pitcher out there for the Tigers currently on the market that you believe has a reasonable price tag associated to it that would benefit this team? The Tiger fans listening to this should keep an ear out for or an eye out for, that if they get player X, that'll be a good signing.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was a few guys on the board. Obviously, I was on record saying Verlander would make a good addition, and I think that he would have been here had it not been for Tommy John surgery. I think that kind of changed the Tigers' plans. I think they want to see how he does. He signed a one-year deal with Houston with an option. It maybe in 2 years if Verlander comes back, and does well. I think that could be an option down the road. But he was a guy I saw as kind of a short-term solution. But you're looking out there. Marcus Stroman is a guy that I think really is intriguing.
That's a guy I like. Yeah.
Not cheap. Obviously, he's a $20 million plus year guy, or $20 million a year guy that you're looking at there. He's a guy, but you could also look in the. I said Carlos Rodon when I did my free agent preview. Maybe a guy, or you could also look in the trade market. I mean, Sonny Gray from the Reds. The Reds are dumping. Maybe he's a guy you go get. Or even you think outside the box. I mean, there's a guy named, if you remember, he pitched in the majors for a little bit. A guy named Nick Martinez pitched. He went over to Japan, lit it up for a couple of years. He's coming back, so maybe you take a flyer on a guy like that. But there's plenty out there. But certainly Stroman, if you're going to spend big and continue to spend big, he'd be at the top of the list.
Tony, of the remaining free agents that are out there, and there's quite a number of them. Chris Taylor's still out there, and he's probably
Correa's still out
Correa.
there.
Who gets Correa? Is it did the Yankees get Correa?
Angels.
Well, now you look at the Angels. You look at the Dodgers now need a shortstop.
Right.
Obviously the Yankees. People say, "Oh, he won't go to the Yankees. The Yankees won't sign him because of the comments he made about Jeter." That's garbage. I mean, if the Yankees give him $350 million, he's going to sign there. I don't think I will go on record as saying this. I'm not very good at predictions, but I'm pretty confident in this one. The Tigers are not going to pull a Texas and sign both these guys, Baez and Correa. I don't see that happening. I don't see that as being a possibility. But Correa is going to get paid. There's plenty of teams out there. So Chris Taylor, I mean, he could end up in Toronto playing one of the positions. Yep. He's another nice piece. I mean, he is. And would have fit well with the Tigers. But if Tigers fans don't like Javi Baez, I don't know how they would have reacted to Chris Taylor.
Hey, last thing, Tony, before we let you go, what about the kids we hear about so much? I mean, you mentioned Riley Green. What do you make of Torkelson? Will Spencer Torkelson make the opening day roster?
I don't think so. I think he's a little bit further behind than Riley Green. I believe that if Riley Green's healthy, he will make the opening day roster and probably be in your opening day lineup. He's progressed. He's done the natural progression. The length, stops everywhere, and he's dominated everywhere he's been. Torkelson obviously was just drafted, but obviously progressed as well. Had really good numbers at AA, AAA. So I see Torkelson being in the lineup at some point before the All-Star break, as long as he stays healthy. So it's going to be, it's going to be very interesting. That's the thing. You throw these free agents in with this mix of young talent that's coming up, and you've got some young pitchers too that are still working their way up that are going to end up in the bullpen that maybe you haven't heard about because they're not quite as highly publicized as the number 1 draft picks. But it's going to be fun to see these guys mix in with a little bit more veteran talent and, see how far it takes this team. I don't think they're legit contenders for 2022, but I think they're fringe contenders. I think they'll be legit bumping heads with the White Sox by 2023.
I think it's going to be tough to beat the Jays this year. The Rays, the Mariners are coming to play. The White Sox aren't going anywhere. That American League is really, really a death fight to the end.
Oh, it's tough, no question. But the beauty of baseball is if you make it into the playoffs, anything can happen.
Yep.
I would argue more than most other sports. If you get into the playoffs and play a series against somebody,
Yep.
I think anything can happen.
Tony Paul, sports writer, the Detroit News. We certainly appreciate your time here, Tony. Hope to do it again soon. .339 yards away from beating Calvin Johnson's all-time record for yards in a season. 3 games left.
It's amazing that Cooper Kupp is having the type of season that he's having. And legitimately, no one is talking about him being the best receiver in the NFL this year. They're not talking about him being second best receiver in the league this year or third or fourth. It's almost like it's reverse discrimination. I know everybody's about to lose their mind when I say that, but it's just one of those things. In some position, it's like you overlook sometimes how good an individual is that can be white. He's
a white wide receiver.
Like, you don't think about white wide receivers. I mean, there's more now that are playing their butts off. You have him. Thielen got hurt earlier in the year. Thielen's really good, but this joker can play. When Calvin Johnson was on that Megatron type run, no pun intended, legitimately it was all throughout the league. Is he going to beat Jerry Rice's record? Is he getting 2,000? And the Lions, like, for what the Lions are, you know how they are nationally. People aren't paying attention to the Lions, but to take shots at them losing a lot. Everyone was talking about Megatron. When it was Julio Jones, it was, oh man, Julio Jones, the best wide receiver in the league. Is he going to get to 2,000? When it was Antonio Brown, when it was Odell Beckham in New York with the show, everybody that has been in this space where they are really chasing Jerry Rice or they're chasing that unicorn that is 2,000 yards, it's been nothing but they're the best wide receiver in the league. It's nothing but all the respect goes to them. Follow the chase. Cooper Kupp, oh, he's a system guy. They run a system out there. Matt Stafford only looks for him. They don't double coverage him. You know what? That's the other team's fault. That's the other fault, that they're still idiots enough in Week 16 to not double coverage Cooper Kupp, who's having the best season in the NFL this year at the wide receiver position, and he's the number 2 wide receiver in the NFL this year, because I still can't put anybody above Maz's guy, Devontae Adams. I can't put anybody above Devontae Adams. But Cooper Kupp is having that type of year where he needs to have the respect and people need to start paying attention, because he's put the whole league as well as the whole fan base on notice.
And everybody knows he's getting the ball too, right?
I don't understand.
You want to talk about, target share. I mean, even last night,
these guys been working together
13
since Stafford got traded on vacation. They've been working together since he got back.
There hasn't been a game, one game this year
where he
had less than 10 targets. And in that game, he had 9 targets. Yep. I mean, everybody knows he's getting the ball 13, 15, 10, 10, 13, 13, 9, 13, 12. I mean, that's his target share.
Also with that, the production is at a high efficiency level. It's not like he's catching abundance of passes, but he's dropping some passes in there. He's missing some balls. He's running some bad routes. He's not producing at times. Every game, 9 for 136, 2 touchdowns. 13 for 123, 1 touchdown. 8 for 129, 1 touchdown. 7 for 96, 11 for 122, 11 for 95, 7 for 115, 10 for 156. He is producing at the highest mass level that you can produce at. He is 3 games away from and 336 yards from breaking Calvin Johnson, which puts him 15 yards under 2,000. And
to pick up on what you're saying, though, these aren't cheapies either.
No.
Look, Cooper Kupp, he's not catching 3-yard outs or 5-yard outs. These are his longs, right? Okay, this is the 42-yarder, 44-yarder, 43-yarder, 22, 29, 52, 59, 30, 33, 35, 22, 44, 56. The guy's getting down the field every single game.
Now, he breaks the record of our guy, but he's doing it in 17 games. Now, I know it's still going to be a record because when I was a kid, O.J. Simpson went 2,000 yards in 14
you took
games.
the words out of my mouth.
But I still say Eric Dickerson is phenomenal. Walter Payton, phenomenal. Barry Sanders, phenomenal. They did it in 16 games. But this guy's going to do it in 17 games, and he will break it.
Yeah.
He will break it, and it'll take 17 games. I just want everyone to know there should be a little bit of an asterisk there as well.
I think right now you probably are right, Tom, just because of the matter of who we are. We like to argue as sports fans, right? We argue about numbers. We argue about records. That's what we do. One of the old pastimes of sports fans is to argue about numbers.
What else we got?
Historic numbers, great records,
best teams, best quarterback ever,
years,
the whole 9 yards.
I'm not putting an asterisk by it, not me.
No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it will get there. But the next year or 2 or 5 years, somebody's always going to say, he beat Calvin Johnson's record in 2021. However, Calvin did it in 16 games. Like that extra line to the record will be added for at least the next 5 years.
And I understand why people come from that mind of thought, and I understand it. The reason why I won't put an asterisk by it is because Calvin Johnson had 336 yards in one game. They literally threw the man 40 passes. Like Matt Stafford was just throwing the ball up, which actually hindered Matt Stafford in terms of going through his progression. But with Cooper Kupp, he had Robert Woods on the precipice of having another 1,000-yard year. He had other tight ends. He had Odell Beckham, who he's trying to find out as well. And he's one-on-one. He's making it happen. He's efficient in the way in which he's doing it. And yes, he's getting some 13 games, some 15 games, but he's had some 12 games. But he's catching 12, but he's catching 13, but he's catching 10, but he's catching 9 when he has 10 attempts. It's just the efficient level of how he's doing. And no game was over the top gaudy to where you're looking at like a. No. I'll give you an example. Jeremy Gallen had broke the single season record at Michigan for reception yards in a game. He had for receiving yards in the season. He had 1,380. He beat somebody else's record. I don't know who it was, but he beat somebody's record.
Single season, though, not career.
He had 400 yards against Notre Dame. That stuff doesn't count. No. It's great, but that does not count. So that's why I won't put an asterisk, because it's high efficient. Like, the efficiency level is what you want to see. Them being efficient is what's going to help them in the playoffs. That's be the only edge that they'll have, because I don't think they have any edge in terms of the consistency level of how they played this year, but the efficiency of Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp is dangerous.
Calvin Johnson, Cooper Kupp. They're going to be 1-2 in the record books. Mm-hmm. Who threw him the ball?
Matthew Stafford.
Pretty good.
Isn't that something? And where Matthew Stafford's getting some MVP talk, and of course Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady, even Jonathan Taylor getting some MVP talk. Where is Cooper Kupp's name in all of this?
It's going to be there.
He's having one of the most historic seasons we have seen in the history of the NFL, especially, Braylon. I mean, you know how hard it is to play that position, and some of the names on this list, right? Calvin Johnson, Hall of Famer. Julio Jones will be a Hall of Famer. Jerry Rice, Hall of Famer. Antonio Brown.
You want to get going?
You want to get going, and
his 6-year run has never been done.
Antonio Brown has the 4th most receiving yards in a season.
5th.
And he's got the 9th most. He's in the top 10 twice. There is no other player, not Jerry Rice, not Calvin Johnson, not Julio Jones. Antonio Brown is the only player in this top 10 twice. You tell me he's not a Hall of Famer?
He had it going. He kind of got in his own way, but he had it going for a while.
Did he get in his own way, or did he just want to get paid?
He got in his own way.
Maz, I love when you say that, only when we're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because anytime else you say it, I say, you know what? The guy got in his own way. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Rooney family have been notorious for effing up as it relates to players.
I get that. Le'Veon Bell and him.
Le'Veon Bell, AB, Santonio Holmes, and Willie Wallace. And the list goes on. Insert wide receiver here. Insert wide receiver, James Conner. Insert player here that they didn't want to pay.
Even did it to a certain extent with our guy Larry Foote. That's why he went to Arizona and Detroit.
Look, Lamar Woodley, another guy. So when it comes to the Steelers family, You got to take it with a grain of salt, man. Like, this is the run I was talking about. 1499 and 8, 1698 13, 1834 10,
Wow.
1284 12, 1533 9, 1297 and 15. Run was amazing. Run was amazing.
Is this Mach 2.0?
I think this is Mach 1.0.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 1.0.
That's his first one. His first one out.
So Todd McShay has Aiden Hutchinson go to the Lions #1 overall pick. Okay, that's and again, that's going to be a 4-month Hutchinson, Thibodeau. You're going to hear about it for the next 4 months. So
and then probably 2 people will creep into there randomly, like they always. Cal Hamilton might come up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Todd McShay's first mock draft has 5 quarterbacks going in the first round. 5 quarterbacks going in the first round. Sam Howell is the 5th of 5 quarterbacks going in the first round. Nobody in the top 10, I might add. No quarterback in the top 10.
Pickett this first one at 12.
Yeah, Sam Howell, though, 5th. Kenny Pickett going the first quarterback taken. But Sam Howell from North Carolina is the 5th quarterback taken in this mock draft going to the Detroit Lions, which is great, okay?
Is he going to be like Mac Jones? We'll take it.
Well, that's the thing. I want to preface what I'm about to say.
Last quarterback taken, I meant.
And I know I'm not breaking any news.
Go ahead.
I am not a talent evaluator.
What?
It is not my job to tell you whether Sam Howell is going to be a great quarterback, a starting quarterback, a backup quarterback, or anything. All I can do is give my opinion. I don't have to be right on this. But what I'm saying is I watched Sam Howell play football 3 or 4 times this year. Sam Howell, to me, is not a first-round pick and will not be the leader of a franchise and get you to where you want to go. That's my opinion on it.
No, that's a very accurate opinion. I've watched the Sam Howell a couple times. Well, he reminds me of a Timothy Tebow. He reminds me of a Taysom Hill, a guy that can run with the football, a guy that's a heck of an athlete, actually a bruiser, if you want to be honest. He's a strong guy. He's a physical individual. He could throw the ball a little bit, but and rightfully so to him. You have to give him some credit. He lost a lot this year with the draft. They lost 2 running backs. Obviously, you're seeing one of them play for the Denver Broncos. As Stick pointed out last week, they lost 2 wide receivers that started as well. So you got to give him a little bit of credit for what he's able to do. But he's not the guy. He's not a guy that I would hope the Detroit Lions drafted. If anything, you want to look at a situation. Maz and I kind of talked about this off air, and I apologize if you're watching. Don't worry. I'm going to get my headset right by the time January rolls around. But you look at the Giants. The New York Giants have 5 and 7 in this upcoming NFL draft. You have 2 first-rounders as well. You have 2 second-rounders as well. You have a lot of draft capital. Oh, by the way, and you have a guy in Jared Goff. Work some magic. Brad Holmes, what we heard from you, we heard you were extremely good at picking out talent, at scouting, at making deals, working those front office moves, especially as the time April rolls around where you're starting to make those deals. We want to see it. We need to see it because I think there is a deal or deals to be done in the NFL around that time. I think, would I like a Daniel Jones? How about you trade Daniel Jones for Jared Goff, and maybe we give you this first round and we sweeten the pot with this second round draft pick as well? Because I believe we picked 33. So that's a very quick pick in the second round. So there's a lot on the table for the Detroit Lions to be able to do. And this is when you know, and this is when you can tell if an organization gets it. If a guy in the front office, being Brad Holmes, if he understands his spot and when he understands the Detroit Lions need, because there's a lot there, it's a lot for it to be done.
The Lions have some great maneuverability about the draft this year and next. So what they've got to do, and I'm not breaking any news here, they've got to decide what quarterback they think or they believe or they project to be that quarterback that's going to be their franchise quarterback. Is that Sam Howell? I don't think so. Maybe they do. I was wrong about Justin Herbert as well. I was not a guy that said, oh, they've got to go draft Justin Herbert. I was a Tua guy.
But you got to, the one thing you weren't wrong about, you got to win in college. Like that's the one common denominator that all successful quarterbacks have. You got to win in college. I don't care about the stats. I don't care about all the other stuff. You got to win. You look at Russell Wilson. Like, he didn't win a national championship. He won the Big Ten. He beat Ohio State to do so, as well as Nebraska and Michigan State. Deshaun Watson. He won. He beat Alabama and
Right.
the mythological Nick Saban. You gotta win. Sam Howell's not winning.
Right.
North Carolina, even when they had talent last year, they were just okay. The winning quarterbacks in college, they win in the NFL. Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, list goes on.
6 losses for Sam Howell
That's
this
too
year.
many.
4 of them on the road.
That's too many.
Way too many. I will say this. You got to scout the quarterbacks this year.
Justin Herbert won the Rose Bowl, by the way.
And you got to scout the quarterbacks next year. You know, next year, you're going to have Bryce Young available.
C.J. Stroud.
You're going to have C.J. Stroud available. And while you might not be – look, how many games are the Lions going to win next year? Not many, right?
Maybe.
Maybe you win 5.
8.
Maybe you win 5.
I say 8.
Oh, well, if you win 8, you're still talking. But again, if you win 8, you've got 2 first-round picks and that second-round pick.
Yeah.
If you identify a quarterback that you believe is going to be your franchise quarterback, you have the maneuverability to then package something up and trade up to get a guy like that.
Don't forget our secret weapon, Bray. Mike White in New York.
Yeah.
The Jets' backup quarterback.
Here's the deal.
Who threw for over 400 yards. Yeah, he got benched a couple weeks later.
First game ever.
No.
He threw 3 interceptions or 4
Won't work.
interceptions.
He was
not going to work.
What do you mean it's not going to work?
Yeah, I'm telling you,
can
it's
get it
not
for
going to
nothing.
work. It's not going to work. Mike White is not going to work. Sorry.
But if you're getting him for nothing, what does it matter?
Well,
how do you know?
Like,
well, I'll tell you how I know.
I'm not saying you're giving up a first-round pick for Mike White. I'm saying like you give up, I don't know, 2 third-round picks.
I'll tell you
have
how
to give
I know.
up that much.
Let me talk to you. The Lions have to draft a quarterback in the first round. They absolutely have to draft a quarterback in the first round, either this year or next, and I'll tell you why.
It's going to be next.
Okay, that's fine.
It's going to be next.
This is a long process. They don't have to do it this year.
They can get Kenny
but they
Pickett.
have
Don't
to
slip.
do it next year. The Lions, to be successful, have to draft a quarterback in the next 2 years in the first round, this year or next, and I'll tell you why. You ready?
I'm ready.
Of the 8 division leaders, if you look at the standings right now, 8 division leaders, how many teams would you say have first-round picks at quarterback?
Well, let's go down.
Now,
Patriots,
Mac Jones,
Dolphins.
Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Ryan Tannehill. In the AFC, the 4 teams that are in first place have first-round picks. In the NFC, Dak Prescott, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, and Kyler Murray. The 4 teams.
3 out of 4.
No, I'm saying 2 out of 4.
2 out of
Dak
4,
Prescott was a 4th-round pick.
Right. Tom was at 7.
And Tom was a 6th-round pick.
6.
So 6 of the 8 division leaders right now.
And one's a unicorn.
And one's a unicorn.
One's a unicorn.
There's a first-round pick. If you don't like that, how about we go to the second-place teams in the NFL? In the second-place teams, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, Carson Wentz, Justin Herbert.
They all sound like first-rounders
All
to me.
first-round picks. And then in the NFC, Taylor Heineke, undrafted. Kirk Cousins, a 4th-round pick. And then you've got Matt Ryan and Matt Stafford, 2 first-rounders. So you've got 12 of the 16 quarterbacks that are first place and second place on first and second place teams are first-round quarterbacks.
and the Dolphins are close as well, and they have Tua, another first.
I'm just saying, you've got
right as well.
you've got one undrafted guy,
Carson
Taylor
Wentz,
Heineke.
too.
Carson Wentz, a first-round guy.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, they're really. You need one.
You gotta draft a quarterback in the first round. Tom Brady's a unicorn. Taylor Heineke is a unicorn. And then you've got the 2 4th-rounders in Kirk Cousins and Dak Prescott.
And then to your point, and in Dak Prescott, and Taylor Heineke, and in what was the other one? That wasn't. It was Dak Prescott, Taylor Heineke, and Kirk Cousins. You also see non-first-round draft pick behavior. Nobody trusts Kirk Cousins, no matter what he's done. I like him a lot, but most people don't trust him. You look at Taylor Heineke. You
don't know about him
You
yet.
saw the chinks in the armor. You saw it last week. You saw that he's not a first rounder. And Dak Prescott, $75 million. He ain't looking like $75 million. You see that he wasn't a first round quarterback, to what you were saying.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of those guys are top 10 picks. 9 of the 16 are top 10 picks. Okay.
You have draft capital, man. I'm telling you, there's a way in which You can get Aiden Hutchinson and Kenny Pickett. It's all about what do you want to do?
What are you willing to do? Now, would you take... Can we continue on with this? Because I got another scenario for you.
I'm good.
Ermanni and Edwards.
Woodward Sports Network, the bottom line.
Thank you, Detroit. Because of your generous donations, this year's Stuff a Studio was a massive success. With the help from our friends at Meyer, Guardian Alarm, and people like you, we were able to send a massive U-Haul filled with toys to Mott Children's Hospital.
I'm aware that was pretty cool, but more importantly, my daughter had surgery at Mott back in about 2005 for brain surgery. They did a miraculous job for her. As a matter of fact, she's graduated from Michigan State on Saturday. You could never
Hey,
tell
go green, right?
Thank you. And we really want to thank you. I know we're standing in front of this very large building, but when you look up, this building is full right now with a lot of sick kids that are going to be here through the holidays. And this team is amazing to make sure that they can at least smile during the holidays, and what you guys have done for us, we'll make sure that we're bringing that magic into their hospital room. So thank you so much.